In this video, we'll closely examine the Airrobo T20 Plus, one of the cheapest robot vacuums I've tested with a self-emptying feature. If you're looking for a budget-friendly robot vacuum that can empty its own dustbin and mop floors, stick around to see if the T20 Plus fits the bill. I put it through a grueling series of tests in different aspects such as navigation, cleaning, mopping, and much more, to uncover all of its weaknesses and to see if it's worth considering. So stick around till the end to find out. First, we'll go through the features. Unlike other brands, which try to pack as much functionality into their products as possible, the Airrobo T20 Plus keeps it simple. It uses a compact base station with only a self-emptying feature that vacuums the robot's dustbin so you don't have to empty it manually. But it doesn't have the premium features like pad washing or pad agitation you'll see in other more expensive options. This is by design to bring the price down to near budget levels. Despite the lack of a pad agitating element, it was excellent in the mopping tests, which I'll share in detail later in this video, so make sure to watch until the end. The T20 Plus uses a round frame, which is standard in most robot vacuums because it's the most efficient at navigating around tight spaces without getting wedged. It has a 2-in-1 dustbin and water tank mounted behind the robot with a decent capacity of 350 and 340 milliliters respectively. The latter is huge for a robot vacuum and a must-have since it doesn't have a base station to refill it once it's empty. Underneath, you'll see a standard brush layout, one side brush and a combo brush in the middle, with a slot for the pad behind the main brush. The T20 Plus base station is compact and great inside small homes or folks who don't want to carry something heavy. An Airrobo didn't compromise on bag capacity, putting a large capacity 3.5-liter bag. It has a strong vacuum motor inside the base station, with up to 27,000 pascals of suction. And after testing its self-emptying capability, I was sold. It emptied this full dustbin filled with Quaker oats. Unfortunately, don't expect too much airflow from the robot, as the T20 Plus only registered a little over 12 CFM at the max setting, which is below average. Fortunately, the lack of power didn't hamper its performance, at least with surface debris on hard floors. Bringing me to the first thing I like about this robot, cleaning performance. The T20 Plus was above average at picking up debris, surface dirt to be exact, where it got respectable scores. It was excellent especially at cleaning dirt on hard floors. That was consistently above 99%, even with hard-to-clean sand. You could see the efficiency during the tests, where it made clean passes. However, the lack of airflow hampers its deep cleaning performance, which we'll look at in detail later in the video. It was decent in the hair-up test, picking up a respectable 82 and 64% in the 5 and 7-inch experiments respectively. Not great scores, but decent for a low airflow robot, but expect hair to wrap on the axles, which can be tedious to clean. Edge cleaning is another plus, since it got nearly every crumb of coffee out of this area. But the lack of airflow is evident, since it didn't pick up anything on the 1/4-inch crevice here. Another aspect fueling its efficiency is its navigation. Since it uses LiDAR, it will navigate proficiently in a predictable back and forth pattern. Like most laser robots, it will clean the edges first before moving to the middle areas. If you enable a 2-pass run, it will do a crisscross pattern. It's one of the most efficient robots I've tested in this small room, completing the 2-pass run in under 15 minutes. Another thing I like is its mopping performance. I wasn't expecting much since it doesn't have an agitating element you'll see in more expensive options. But this didn't hamper it from removing stains efficiently. It only needed 1 pass to remove red wine stains, and the more surprising result is how it removed juice stains with minimal stalling. This is an issue with most robots that don't have an agitating element. Nearly every robot I've tested stalled badly and didn't complete the mopping cycle. The T20 Plus initially stalled, but only in this area. It managed to go through the 2-pass mopping cycle and finish the run without stalling, so this is a huge plus. Runtime is decent, maxing at 180 minutes in the lowest setting. But that's not a realistic number, since you'll need to use the 2 higher settings to get decent cleaning performance, especially on carpet, so expect that number to be closer to 100 minutes. But with the recharge and resume feature, plus the efficient navigation, this shouldn't be an issue in most homes. The T20 Plus has a mapping run, but one difference I see from other brands is it immediately shifts to a normal run after creating the map. Depending on your preference, this can be good or bad. The app itself can save up to 5 map levels, and with the lightweight frame of the base station, you can easily move it on different levels without breaking a sweat. Lastly, and the biggest thing I like is the price. You don't need to spend over $500 for a decent robot vacuum and mop hybrid that can do both tasks efficiently. And even at its introductory price, it's still close to the budget range. With a downsized base station, there will be several features lacking we'll examine in the things I don't like section. The Airrobo T20 Plus base station doesn't have a pad washing feature, so you'll need to manually wash the pads by hand or throw it inside the washing machine. The frequency will depend on how often you'll use the robot and what it needs to mop. But that's a trade-off for getting a cheaper option with a compact base station. Another downside is the below-average deep cleaning performance, which is an issue with most robot vacuums, even premium options. Don't expect this robot to deep clean carpets efficiently. If you need something for this purpose, consider getting a high-powered stick vacuum or upright vacuum. And while this robot has containment, it's limited. The Airrobo app provides two options, no-go zones and no-mop zones, which have similar functions, blocking the robot from going into a square or rectangular zone. It doesn't have an invisible wall feature, so blocking diagonal areas isn't an option. Despite the low airflow, this robot is noisy, at least in the two higher settings, which are the ones you'll use most often for vacuuming. Based on the sound meter test, it breached 73 decibels in these two settings. One downside of a laser robot is this protrusion on top, hampering it from reaching areas under 3.75 inches. It doesn't have obstacle avoidance, so make sure to remove any wires or obstacles that could get in the way. This robot is compatible with the Airrobo app, and we'll look at the most helpful features. First is the live map feature that shows the robot's location in real time. Users can check the cleaning status on the map where the robot is located. One feature lacking is a 3D map, but this isn't a need, only a nice-to-have feature. Consumers have access to the mapping run that prioritizes map creation. But one difference with this robot is it immediately toggles into a standard cleaning run, so it takes longer to finish. It does a good job at recognizing doors and creates partitions automatically. But if you close a door and try to clean areas outside it, it won't go past the imaginary door on the map.
Unable to reach the specified location.
You'll have to switch to another map with the door open for it to work. Containment is also available, but it's limited to no-go zones and no-mop zones, which basically have the same function. Block the robot from going into a rectangular or square zone. The invisible wall feature isn't available, so consumers can't block diagonal areas. Consumers will have several options in deploying the robot. They could opt for the vacuum only, mop only, or the hybrid function. The mop function has 3 water level options, while the vacuum has 4 power options. Scheduled cleaning is available if you want to automate the task, or you could use voice and connect this robot to Alexa. The Airrobo T20 Plus is an excellent budget-level robot vacuum with a self-emptying feature for consumers who don't want to spend a fortune on an autonomous robot. Of course, as with any budget-level product, there will be compromises like the absence of a pad washing feature or obstacle avoidance. But its vacuuming and mopping performance make up for these deficiencies. This robot is one of the best options I've tested at mopping, even hard to remove juice stains, since it finished the run and removed the stains before finishing the second pass. If you don't mind washing the pad by hand or not having obstacle avoidance, this robot is an excellent budget option to consider. Comment down below if you have any questions about the Airrobo T20 Plus and watch this playlist to see my other robot vacuum reviews, and I'll see you in the next video.